Americans are losing faith in the value of college. Whose fault is that, Mr. Ellsworth? Let me read the story. Okay.
Tom's fault.
A decade ago, a survey showed strong support for college, with 86% of college graduates seeing it as a good investment. But today, only about a third of Americans have a lot of confidence in higher education, and just about 41% of young adults view a college degree as very important. That's only 41%. The rising cost of college has played a significant role in the shift, with tuition fees nearly doubling for four-year private college since 1992. Total student debt has surged from $500 billion in 2007 to $1.6 trillion. That's just in 16 years. It's tripled, leading to financial burdens and hindering wealth accumulation for many graduates. And by the way, you can't even file a bankruptcy on your college debt. You have to pay it. You don't have a choice. The decline in faith in higher education is also politically driven, as Republican sentiment has sharply dropped. In 2015, 58% of Republicans believed colleges had a negative impact in the country compared to 37% in 2015. So anyways, we're going to see what's going to happen here. Tom, your thoughts on this story?
Well, there are three angles to the story. One, is college useful? Number two, is it worth the price? And number three, are there other things happening like indoctrination that parents are upset about? The first one, usefulness. Two studies I found said that last year it dipped under 50% of college graduates got a job related to what they just studied and paid for. So only 50%. So, you have parents that are so shocked at home. Wait a minute, you're telling me European art history? You've been able to find a job in European art history here in the United States? That's the whole point. Liberal arts educations in the esoteric majors are not useful. So only half people are finding jobs in what they just studied. Then they look at the return on investment. I walk out with student loans and I find a job in what I just studied, marketing, business, but they look at the price and how long it's going to take them to pay for it, minus whatever minor academic scholarships or need-based scholarships or whatever they got. There's still a net there. It's like, now I got to pay this off. And then the last one were parents who are footing the bill for the people I just mentioned, if they don't get student loans, are saying, wait a minute, you remember the old thing about the weather, that March comes in like a lamb, goes out like a lion? There's that old joke about the weather. Well, parents are like, my kid goes in like a moderate and comes out like a Marxist. And it's like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
And so that's the three things. Is it useful? Is it worth the money and the indoctrination? And people have had it. Students have had it. Parents have had it. And then later on, when a student becomes an adult and they're paying for it, they've had it.
So can I challenge you? So for you, even though you're saying that, you're still encouraging your kids to go to college. Why is that?
Okay, let's rewind. Number one, I've saved my pennies. I don't think it's worth it, but my kids are going to come out without significant burdens, so they don't have to get held back as they start their career.
Sure.
But the second is, you and I have had a conversation about this. I will fund STEM, business, or pre-med, pre-law. And there's a whole list of things you can do in life. I'm willing to fund that because I want to be at the top part of the 50% that have a degree that's actually usable. And so, but I'm on the fence. If I was probably 10 years older, I might take a son or daughter and put them in an apprenticeship with me and really think twice on this, because I see where this is going. In 10 years down the road, I don't know if that Tom Ellsworth would make this decision.
I agree with Tom that it's multifaceted, because it's not one size fits all. So on one hand, you're also almost saying, like, it's not worth it, the ROI isn't there, but at the same time, you're encouraging your daughters to go, because why? There's a plan for them. The biggest problem that I have with college is most kids are 18 years old and they're about to make the biggest decision of their life, and they're just not equipped to make that decision.
Yeah.
They don't have the money. College debt is ridiculous. You know how long it takes the average student debt recipient to pay back their loans? 20 years. It takes a long freaking time. So on one hand, if you look at the stats, going backwards, times have changed. Internet, technology, drop shipping, social media, everything. Entrepreneurship is now a buzzword. It used to be a new word. High school students, high school graduates would make $1 million over their lifetime if you graduate high school. College degrees would equivocate to $2 million. MBAs, $3 million. But the times have changed. It's just not what it used to be. And then here's the last point. I actually think that most kids, unless you're an Ellsworth daughter and you have a game plan and you're not taking on debt and you're not basically driving up the price of everything in the rest of your life, I think that there should be I don't want to say a mandate, but encouragement for most kids to take a gap year. I think that there is a lack of national pride. I think there's a lack of national servitude. I think there's a lack of community service. And I would encourage most kids, if you do not have a game plan for your life, go take 1 year, go to AmeriCorps, go do an internship, go give back to your country.
I like that.
Learn something.
Whether it's in healthcare, whether it's in tech, whether it's in anything, entrepreneurship. And there's only one thing that you have to do if you're going to do this. Every morning, every employee or every intern, whatever it is, there's only one thing. You have to do the Pledge of Allegiance. That's the only thing. And they will basically pay for you and do whatever you need to do. And then you can take that year to figure out the game plan for the rest of your life.
Kayvon's waving his hand, but you also, in Israel, you're compelled to have 2 years of gap.
You have to go 2 years to the army. Yeah, you have to.
That's gangster.
So bottom line is this. At 18, you don't need to make the biggest decision for the rest of your life and then just drown yourself in debt. It's okay to start college when you're 19. It's okay to start college when you're 20. You don't have to make this decision when you're 18. And for the parents out there, get the message for your kids.
Well, let me just add one thing. They sued Trump University because people weren't getting what they thought they were going to get out of it. No problem. What is the difference when colleges keep hiking up their rates and then they just go, well, Joe Biden will pay that off. We want student debt relief. Why can't we have a class action lawsuit and say, hey, you're providing these degrees, they're not going anywhere, somebody owes it back, and I think it's the institutions and not the taxpayer.
That's actually a very good point as well. You know, for me, I will tell you, for you and I, going in the military was life-changing. I think if a boy that's becoming a man doesn't yet have a set of, direction of what they want to do with their lives, and you're not a, what do you call it? You're not a person that's maybe got a 4.1 GPA, maybe you got like a 2.2 GPA, military may not be a bad option for you.
Pat, it made me, excuse me, my father, he was there. They were not divorced. He was in the house, but drank and never really wasn't the father that I needed, right? So the military discipline, being on time, cleaning, it makes you, being that experience. I'm not only a patriot, my life, my goal, making my bed, it regiments you to where you're on point, especially somebody that had a father that didn't have, didn't have somebody.
Vinny, I'm sorry to hear about your daddy issues. I know a lot of girls with those issues, but I know that,
I'm going to cry after.
Okay, I know you're going to be okay. But I will say there is a difference between what men and women do for working after college. You have no idea how many girls that I have on my show. I've had this conversation a million times. They go to college, they graduate, and what do? They become bartenders, or they become servers, or they start doing OnlyFans. Some even start stripping, and they're like, why? Why do you do this? Because you make more money. It's like, well, then why did you spend all that money on college? Yeah. And then Tom hit the nail on the head. Unless guys out there specifically are going into STEM stands for not stem cell, STEM, science, tech, engineering, math. That's a male-dominated career path. So men need to make that decision. But it's crazy to me that you go to college, you spend all this money, you take on debt, and then OnlyFans, here we come for the ladies.
Yeah.
We don't have that option.
PBD, but you're sending your kids to college, ideally, no?
So are you saying, I take your message in a couple different ways.
Sure.
One of the ways I take it as in your ideal world, there needs to be a way, a course in college to how to effectively improve your OnlyFans account. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
I'm actually leading the course.
That's what I thought you were saying.
That's exactly.
Professor Sosnick
I'm Professor Sosnick. Hi, ladies. Strip down. Let's have a conversation.
Yeah. No, obviously you're not saying that. With my kids, let me tell you what Dylan told me the other day. I'm like, Dylan, so where are you going to go to college? I'm not going to college. Why are you not going to college? He says, Dad, you know what I'm going to be doing.
Oh, wow.
I said, well, let's just say it doesn't work out, Daddy. What are you going to be doing? He says, Dad, I don't need to go to college. Look at you. I'm like, buddy, you got a 4.0 GPA. All your grades are straight A's. You're like the best student. You're doing great stuff with school, with sports, with all this stuff. I'm not going to go to college yet. I said, okay, so let's just play this. What if you get a scholarship from XYZ school to go play football or baseball or whatever with them, right? Or soccer with them. What are you going to do? You're not going to go? No, because I'm going straight to play for Barcelona. I'm going to go straight. That's his mindset. He's so flipping competitive. But Tico knows from right here, hey, you know, Dad, I'm going to go to USC, or I would like to go to a school that's not too woke, his words. Yeah. I would like to go to a school where I can learn how to become a movie guy, Steven Spielberg, all this stuff. But he talks a different language than Dylan, and in our household, we can entertain both thoughts.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.